Good afternoon. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. We really have a strong, unprecedented coalition here today. Many people standing behind us. I want to welcome everybody. We're standing here today with a really inspiring coalition committed to making Colorado safer, reducing crime, and helping to make Colorado one of the 10 safest states over the next few years. We're joined by Public Safety Director Stan Hilkey, Senator Janet Buckner, Representative Alex Valdez, Representative Tony Exum, Senator Chris Kolker, 17th Judicial District DA for Adams and Broomfield Counties, Brian Mason, Boulder County Sheriff Joe Pelly, Summit County Sheriff Fitzsimmons, Servicios de la Raza Executive Director Rudy Gonzalez, and Bishop Jerry Demmer of the Greater Metro Denver Ministerial Alliance. Those are just the speakers, but there are many others standing with us here today, both here and across the state, who've provided their powerful testimony as to why Colorado needs to take action to improve our public safety. We're here today to announce our plan to make Colorado safer, to make our community safer. Nobody should feel that it's dangerous to walk home from work or a store at night or to play with their kids in their neighborhood. And we want to put Colorado on the path to becoming one of the 10 safest states in the country in the next 5 years. And this plan is a step in that direction. We know that nothing can be achieved overnight, and there's no silver bullet, but this collaborative, data-driven plan is a very important step to making Colorado safer. Look, Colorado, the country, the world, we've been through a lot these last 2 years. The pandemic has worsened crime across the country. That's why we're meeting the challenge of rising crime head on and investing in Colorado-focused, locally driven solutions that are based on data of what works and what will improve public safety. This plan gives our men and women in law enforcement more support for recruitment and training. It helps ensure that law enforcement reflects the diversity of our communities that they serve. It'll build on the successful efforts of community policing models, increase access to mental health services, and fund early intervention grants to prevent crime from happening in the first place. The most effective way to improve public safety is to prevent a crime from occurring in the first place. Now, this package also improves the ability of Colorado Bureau of Investigations and law enforcement to track down serious criminals and successfully prosecute them. But a crime that's prevented is even better than a crime that is prosecuted. We also improve resources to fight domestic violence and sexual assault, and we make key safety improvements in both our schools and on our streets. I think it's clear by the coalition that we've assembled here today that this effort is welcomed in the state of Colorado. This plan was carefully crafted with input and feedback from community organizations and law enforcement across the entire state. We received input, and other folks that have joined us include our new Behavioral Health Administration Commissioner, Dr. Morgan Medlock, Department of Corrections Director Dean Williams, the ACLU, Deborah Richardson, Colorado Boys and Girls Club, joined by Danielle Felder, Gang Rescue and Support Project Executive Director Johnny Williams. I think Attorney DA Michael Doherty was stuck in traffic. He might get here, he might be here, but he is strongly supportive of this, as well as are many others. Between me and my staff, we've held dozens of meetings over the last year to ensure that this plan is comprehensive, responsive to needs of our communities, and reflective of who we are as Coloradans, and most importantly, will improve public safety in Colorado. I'm proud of the plan and how it will impact the lives of everybody in our state. In particular, I want to highlight 3 bills that will be introduced in the coming days. The first, sponsored by Senator Janet Buckner and Representative Alex Valdez, who have joined us, will provide targeted community-based grants for local governments, law enforcement, and community organizations to improve public safety using strategies that include violence interrupter programs, co-responder models, with an emphasis on areas of high prevalence of crime. We have, again, Sheriff Fitzsimmons with us from Summit County. I had the opportunity to meet with the folks involved, along with Representative McCluskey, in their successful co-response model. Essentially what this means is, rather than divert law enforcement resources to a situation that requires mental health assistance, it's best to be able to utilize social services or a mental health professional to address that situation rather than divert resources from fighting crime, to deal with the situation that others are trained to handle and others can handle in a safer way with better outcomes for both the individual involved and for the community. The bill also provides local law enforcement with grants to recruit and train and retain diverse, high-quality officers of the peace. Another bill addresses targeted violence, including funds for training programs to build strong, resilient communities, increasing awareness and understanding, and prevention of violence-motivated crimes. Finally, a third bill provides resources to keep our kids, teachers, and support staff safe and supported at schools through additional resources for school-based mental health support, but also common sense security measures like making sure there's multiple exits, entrance systems, and training at the school site. I want to thank our legislative sponsors, Representative Exum, Representative Bacon, Representative Michelson-Janae, and Senator Kolker for their commitment and partnership in leading those two bills. We're very excited for the work ahead and the increased public safety that will result in our state. Now, I'm happy to turn it over to someone who spent a career and a life serving and protecting first the people of Mesa County and now the people of the state, Public Safety Director Stan Hilkey.
Hello, my name is Stan Hilkey, Executive Director of the Colorado Department of Public Safety. Thank you, Governor. It's an exciting day, and it's an important step forward for Colorado's law enforcement community and the community in general in protecting our entire state. I'd also like to thank the legislators who are here today working to bring these bills forward. And thank you to all the members of law enforcement that could be here with us today, and for those that are unable to be here today but are watching with great interest. We look forward to working with you as this package continues to get developed. As the Governor said, I've spent my entire career as a peace officer before I became Director of Department of Public Safety. I spent 30 years in Mesa County law enforcement and served nearly 12 years as their sheriff. I know what it's like to be on the ground. I also know what it's like to be leading an agency trying to keep the community safe. It's never an easy job, even less so these days. I also recognize the disruptions that this pandemic has had in our world that has no doubt caused challenges for our law enforcement community through the last couple of years. From the difficulties retaining strong workforce to the upward trend in crime, our men and women in uniform are going above and beyond to keep our community safe. And I want you to know that I see you. I see you and the hundreds or thousands of good, professional, noble acts that you do every day to keep Colorado and their people safe. That's why I'm proud of this renewed spirit and interest in public safety. This package is a multifaceted strategy aimed at putting resources in the hands of local law enforcement, local organizations, and local communities to use strategies that best suit them. We hope that the legislative process keeps it flexible enough to address the good ideas of our local entities. As well as addressing some of the needs of law enforcement, it also addresses a broader community need. It starts Colorado on the path of becoming one of the safest states in our country. To be clear, this effort will require much more ongoing collaboration and effort, something that we're committed to doing. With the Governor's leadership and the efforts of the legislators combined with the ongoing collaboration of the men and women of our law enforcement community and other community leaders, I believe these investments will set us on a path to make Colorado safer. Again, there's much work to be done, but we are eager to get started. Now I'm happy to turn it over to a legislator who has worked so hard to get us started on this path, Senator Janet Buckner.
Good afternoon, and I think you all must have come today because it's my birthday. But good afternoon, and I want to thank all of you for taking the time to be here today. I also want to thank Governor Polis and my colleagues in the House and Senate, as well as law enforcement officials and community leaders who are here today. This hard work from everyone to improve public safety in Colorado is much appreciated. It is no secret that violent crime is a problem here in Colorado, just like it is across the country. The reasons are varied and complex, but the result is the same: Too few of our neighbors currently feel safe and secure in their communities. That's unacceptable, and it must change. That's why we're here today. We are committed to doing everything we can to make our communities safe across Colorado, including and especially in communities of color. We've put together a robust plan to tackle rising crime head on, based on data-driven and evidence-based policy solutions that will help us address the root cause of crime. As part of that plan, I will be carrying important legislation to make critical investments in our communities to address public safety. We have really been listening to leaders in my hometown of Aurora, such as Sheriff Tyler Brown and Omar Montgomery, as well as leaders from across the state, to make sure this plan will make communities safer in a way that works for everyone. Their input has been critical as we put this package together, and I am grateful for their support and collaboration. Specifically in Senate Bill 1, we aim to create a grant program to help local governments make strategic infrastructure upgrades where crime is more prevalent, which will help reduce crime and reduce the perception of crime in areas that are considered easy targets or unwatched. I'm happy to announce that very shortly, I will be introducing legislation to fund more Colorado co-responder programs, as well as community-based organizations that do violence interrupter work and work to prevent at-risk populations from entering into the criminal justice system. I am also carrying legislation that will establish a statewide crime prevention forum to bring together state and local leaders to identify challenges and develop plans to address public safety. And to address shortages in our public safety workforce, I am pushing legislation that will support local law enforcement initiatives to recruit, train, and retain a high-quality, diverse law enforcement workforce that looks more like the communities they serve. This, on top of the nearly $1 billion in federal pandemic relief funds we are directing to fix our broken behavioral health system and promote safe, affordable housing for Coloradans, which will help folks get the help they need. Rising crime is not an easy topic to address or discuss. There are strong feelings and emotions on both sides. That's why we have put in the legislative work to make sure these reforms will be fair, equitable, and most importantly, effective. I am really grateful to my colleagues and to everyone here today for their hard work and dedication to solving this problem. Together, we will make sure that every Coloradan feels safe and secure in their community. And now I would like to introduce my friend, Representative Alex Valdez.
Good afternoon, everybody. Beautiful day. My name is Alex Valdez. I have the honor of representing the urban core of Denver, an area that has seen a lot of changes over the last few years and is an area that's experiencing very high levels of violence right now, something we all strive to change. I am excited today to be a part of this bold action to respond to our state's public safety challenges. It has never been more important than today to respond to proven methods that work while avoiding some of the mistakes of the past. We are faced with a shortage of people across multiple sectors. This bill that I will be working on is great because it will bring high-quality workforce to communities and give them tools to fight crime in a way that is good for them. The innovative approaches that we're working on will support community, will work with community, will be open to conversations with community so that we develop a plan that works. This opportunities in this bill to promote real changes within our law enforcement community and create excellent opportunities for education. The collaboration and diversity that we will be working on is going to deliver a win-win to community. And when we do that, the community always wins. This bill that I will be working on even provides grant money for mental health programs, ones like Denver's STAR program, which is an amazing program. Support Team Assisted Response deploys emergency response teams, including medical technicians and behavioral health clinicians, to engage individuals experiencing a crisis of mental health. That, folks, is an improvement, and I'm excited to be a part of that. Ensuring that all Coloradans feel safe is a win-win. When community is heard, we win. And I am excited to work with this team to move this legislation forward so that we can deliver a win for our community and so that Colorado can be the great place that we want it to be. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to another member of our team, Representative Tony Exum.
Thank you all for joining us today. There are a number of important pieces in this package, and I want to thank all the people who have come together to prioritize making our community safer. Today, I'd like to discuss some of the ways we're going to reduce bias-motivated crimes and prevent violence in and around our schools. Every student in Colorado should have a safe learning environment. This is critical to preparing our students for success and for ending the cycle of violence and recidivism that has led far too many victims of crime and young Coloradans entering the criminal justice system. Violence and crime in our schools has a lifelong impact on our kids. This package will target resources to school districts to prevent crime and keep our students safe. These funds will be used to improve security in school facilities and threat assessment training and prevent unauthorized people from entering schools. The bill also invests in school mental health professionals so students get the services they need to thrive. Another bill in the package creates a grant program to prevent bias-motivated violence. The grants will focus on building strong communities and preventing acts of violence that target specific populations of people in a way that poses a threat to our security. The grants will fund projects that build awareness of these crimes and prevent them from happening. This includes the projects that strengthen local collaboration and capabilities to prevent and intervene in bias-motivated violence. We all are committed to making Colorado one of the 10 safest states in the nation and building safer communities in everyone in our state. We know that we can't go back to the tough on crime policies of the past that failed to keep our communities safe and only perpetuated violence in our communities. That's why we're using data and evidence to create strategies that prevent crime, reduce recidivism, and keep our communities safe. And now I'd like to introduce my colleague from the other chamber, Senator Coker.
Thank you for good afternoon, and it's a pleasure to be with all of you today. Thank you, Governor Polis, for helping lead this very important initiative. With crime on the rise here in Colorado and across the country, this is the time to double down on our work to make our state and our communities safer. Make no mistake, this is not a return to failed policies that lead to over-policing or certain communities and rising recidivism rates. These are thoughtful, evidence-based initiatives that will help make our communities safer. One of the initiatives is a bill that I will carry, along with Representative Exum, that will improve the security for schools and students. See, I'm a former educator, a father of two, and a husband of an educator in Littleton Public Schools. And I want to make sure that our kids, all of our kids, are safe. That is one of my top priorities. The competitive grant program that would be provided by this bill allows these school districts to apply for school safety enhancements and also to expand mental health resources. We know feeling secure is also a result of the people around us, the social and emotional impact that kids are going through, and they need that support. So it is very important for us to make sure that we're expanding school social workers, counselors, psychologists. We know we must do more, and these measures will go a long way towards improving security at school and keeping our kids safe. So with that, I'd like to thank you again for all being here today. I look forward to working with each and every one of my colleagues here to turn this package into law. Thank you. And with that, I'd like to introduce District Attorney Brian Mason.
Good afternoon. My name is Brian Mason, and I'm the District Attorney for Colorado's 17th Judicial District, which serves Adams and Broomfield counties. Governor, and distinguished colleagues from the Legislature and Cabinet and law enforcement. I'm really proud to be standing up here today. This is a truly, and I don't use this word lightly, historic investment in community safety in the state of Colorado. And of the many components of this package that are laudable, one that stands out to me is its investment in mental health. The mental health crisis in this country disproportionately impacts the criminal justice system. 37% of federal and state prison inmates report a mental health disorder. 44% of our inmates in county jails report the same. This package will allow us to address mental health problems before people get into the criminal justice system and seek to keep them out of it altogether. This package also invests in critical infrastructure programs such as the co-responder model, early intervention teams, violence interrupter programs, trauma screening for children, and importantly, domestic violence prevention. Domestic violence has skyrocketed in the last 2 years of this very difficult pandemic, and this package addresses that as well. Early intervention works when you can intercept low-level offenders and divert them out of the criminal justice system. Their chances of going back in go exponentially down. In my diversion program in Adams and Broomfield counties, those who successfully complete diversion, 85% of them never return to the criminal justice system. This is something we have to invest in, and that's precisely what this package does. I applaud Governor Polis, his team, and all those who are connected to this package. My two top priorities as district attorney is to keep the community safe and to make the criminal justice system better. This package does both, and I'm proud to support it. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Sheriff Fitzsimons.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jamie Fitzsimons. I'm the Sheriff of Summit County. I'm happy to join you all to talk about what this public safety package will mean for Summit County. Beyond the exciting investments to recruit, train, and retain the workforce, I'm equally excited about the opportunity to expand Summit County's SMART program, which is a co-responder program that stands for System-Wide Mental Assessment Response Team. The SMART program is designed to address the unique mental health needs of our community. The goal is to de-escalate situations that have historically resulted in arrest or hospitalization and assess whether the person should be referred to local treatment services or a higher level of care. Each team in the program consists of a law enforcement officer, a behavioral health specialist, who co-respond to mental health related police calls. Then they collaborate with a third member of the team, which is the case manager, who provides critical follow-up for the client, connecting them with the most appropriate resources. The program delivers a continuum of care from crisis response through stabilization with the ultimate goal of safe return to the community. I'm also proud to say that since its inception, SMART has had no uses of force and has made no arrests. During the program's first year, we received over 952 calls for service that had a mental health public safety nexus, saving other first responders close to 1,400 hours of service hours. We also conducted over 1,000 mental health assessments, with nearly half of those being stabilized in place with supports given, safety plans completed, and connected to local services with follow-up SMART services. The estimated community cost savings associated with stabilizations in place has been nearly $17 million. I don't just share this because I want to tout the success of this program, though I'm happy to do that. It's because this program works in Summit County and it can work in other communities across our state as well. Currently, this program is grant funded. I'm happy this package includes important funding for programs like this one. With more funding, not only can we help more of our community members get the resources they need, but we are also saving law enforcement and taxpayers time and money. I'd like to next introduce my friend, Sheriff Boulder County, Joe Pelly.
Good afternoon. My name is Joe Pelly from Boulder County. I want to thank the governor and his staff for meeting with a number of us police chiefs and sheriffs last year and holding listening sessions, discussing with us the needs and the issues that we were facing. And one of the most important things that I thought needed to be addressed was workforce. We've had record numbers of resignations and retirements from policing. This is not just a Colorado issue, it's across the country. And we're not recruiting and retaining as we should be, and we need to incentivize that. We need to recruit and retain a young, diverse, well-trained workforce for the future in order to do the best policing that we can in Colorado. So this bill helps address that with grants and aid in helping incentivize that education and that training. So thank you very much. And next, Mr. Rudy Gonzalez.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Rudy Gonzalez. I'm the Executive Director of Servicios de la Raza. And buenas tardes. Governor, thank you so much for this public safety package and inviting us, the Latino community, to participate and give input. Since 1972, Servicios de la Raza has been committed to and involved in addressing behavioral health issues. Mental health and substance misuse issues are rooted in trauma and can result in negative behaviors that lead to crime. Servicios holds to deeply rooted indigenous values, such as in Lakesh, which literally means I am you and you are me, or I am the other you. We seek to aid victims of crime, but we also seek to restore those who have committed crimes. To do this, we must address trauma. Poverty is traumatic, and so is racism and discrimination. There has been a lot of fear-mongering about rising crime in Denver. And yes, some crimes are rising, and that's not good. Many that speak to this rising crime, however, want to take us back to failed policies of the past, such as tough on crime, broken windows, policing, that don't work in our communities. This governor knows that these failed policies of the past shouldn't get a redo. We have defunded for so many years the support net services and supportive services that really help to keep our communities safe. Thank you, Governor, for this more thoughtful and humane approach. By refunding these truly needed services, behavioral health services, you will make our communities safer. More significantly, giving that funding to genuine, culturally responsive, community-based organizations and providers, not dollars in big government, will lead to better results, productive outcomes, and impact for people in community. We need to work deeply with our communities and neighborhoods and apply effort upstream to prevent crime, to intervene in a manner that just does not punish, but truly reforms and restores. Thank you, Governor, for recognizing the need for community dollars in community-led initiatives. Servicios de la Raza will deliver, and Servicios supports these policies. Gracias, y sí se puede. Oh, that's right. I've got to introduce my brother, man, Bishop Jerry Demmer. My man.
Thank you so much, Brother Rudy. I think he might have out-preached me. We're grateful to the governor, and we're grateful to be a part of this plan that can make a difference in our community. I am Bishop Jerry Demmer, and I am the Public Relations Vice President of the Greater Metro Denver Ministerial Alliance. I am also a co-founder of One Step Forward for the Community. Solving violence is in our hearts and our souls. Government is now asking us to become partners to attack the heart of crime in our communities. Some of these funds are specifically designated to make that difference. We are finally looking at programs that embrace Title VI, which states, no person in the United States shall, on the grounds of race, color, or national origin, under this program be discriminated against, but they must be allowed to receive federal assistance and funding. These funds can make an impact on the problem that plague our community of color. Only a genuine, and let me say it again, only a genuine partnership can solve the problems of violence and crime. We got to do it together. Law enforcement and community must work together to break down all barriers. If you allow me to preach just a little bit, remember the Bible reminds us that two are better than one, and a threefold cord is hard to break. We are better together. Opportunities come in every form and fashion, and I hope that there will be a real opportunity to work together to impact and eliminate violence with all of the voices, all of the powers coming together in what we would call real partnership. As just one voice in many communities of color, we are excited, we are hopeful that these programs will make a difference in our community as we all partner and work together for a better Denver, Colorado.
Thank you, Bishop, for those inspirational words, and we'll be happy to take some questions. So first of all, we have police chiefs, sheriffs, DAs from all over the state who are here and are supporting this with quotes that they've given. With regard to the associations, the chiefs are supporting the two bills that have been introduced. I think organizations like me in the governor's office, we of course want to see the full bills before we fully commit to supporting them. And I would say that for any bill that reaches my desk, it's always possible that language is inserted that doesn't work, and I understand why the chiefs and the sheriffs as well as the governor's office would be concerned. But I think everybody is broadly supportive of this direction and very much looks forward to seeing the specifics of these bills. When it comes to the goal of making Colorado one of the 10 safest states, I don't think the sponsors or us or the advocates or the police chiefs or sheriff think that this alone will do it. This is the first step, important step, in the direction of making Colorado safer, and we look forward to getting it done, and we look forward to working with law enforcement and community leaders on additional steps in the future.
Governor, how much do you attribute the rise in crime to the policies passed by the legislature that you signed into law? Earlier you deflamed the pandemic.
Well, what you see is a rise of crime across the country, and I'll leave it to sociologists to figure out why. It could be the pandemic, it could be the economy, but it's something that cannot be put off or ignored, and that's why we're coming together around a Colorado response to improve public safety in our state. One that is data-driven, Some of these programs already exist in our state, and we know that they work. Some of them exist in other parts of the country, and we know that they work. It's locally driven because local buy-in, community organizations, law enforcement is absolutely critical for a policy to reduce crime and improve public safety. So I'm confident that with this effort, working with members of the legislature, law enforcement, and community organizations across the state, we'll be able to make Colorado safer.
And a follow-up, how would you define 10 safest states? What are the benchmarks that you say the state has to hit in order to be safe?
So currently, and you can look this up in different places, John, I encourage you to, but the one that I looked at were 23rd safest in violent crime and 29th safest in violent crime. We will, like we do for many things, have a public dashboard on this that we'll be rolling out with a measure, but essentially it will be where we rank them on the states with regard to violent crime and property crime. We're currently in the middle of the pack. That's not good enough for Colorado. We deserve to be one of the safest places to live and raise a family, and this package of bills will help get us there.
Governor, do you support repealing the law that made programs for less drugs?
In my State of the State address, I specifically called for legislation to strengthen penalties for drug dealers that are peddling fentanyl in our communities. Coloradans are sick and tired of seeing this drug kill loved ones. Many drugs kill slowly. Fentanyl kills quickly. And I strongly support additional criminal penalties to go after those who deal fentanyl. And I'll turn it over to Speaker Garnett on that as well.
Thank you, Governor, and thank you, Sean, for that question. And I just wanted to give a quick update. I'm working in a bipartisan way with law enforcement agencies and public health experts to make sure that we get the right solution to fentanyl. My heart goes out to all those families who have suffered from fentanyl. It's complex. It's very unique in its nature, both in its pure form, its pill form, and its cut form. So we are taking the time needed to put forward the best policy possible.
And one follow-up question. Governor, do you support bond reform? It's been talked about down here for years, and there's another bill this year, bond, and I know I did some stories on this. Do you think the system needs to be reformed, and if so, what do you think it's going to be?
Well, there haven't been any significant changes in PR bonds during my tenure or the immediate past with regard to bills that were passed by the legislature. We certainly do hear a lot of complaints and issues that are raised at the local level about the use of PR and repeat offenders. So like any bill, we would be open to looking at what it would do to improve public safety and reduce crime, and that'll be our bottom line in measuring any bill that reaches my desk.
Governor, do you think that reducing unnecessary incarceration and arrest can actually contribute to a healthy society? Is that a priority still?
Well, of course. The data shows that often over-incarceration can lead to people entering a criminal lifestyle. And that's why, as a society, we've moved towards, for instance, substance abuse disorders help rather than incarceration for low-level drug abuse. There's still a role for the criminal justice system and criminal syndicates and drug dealers appropriate to use the full force of the law to apprehend and prosecute them. But with regard to somebody that needs help, the goal should be to set them on a path where they don't violate our laws, are not a threat to others, rather than on a path that only increases the likelihood that they'll commit crimes, including violent crimes against their fellow Coloradans.
Can you expect any major new reports on that front?
Well, again, I want to be clear about what this package is. This is a package that will improve public safety in the state of Colorado. There are lots of other ideas about how to do that. Ideas from the left, ideas from the right, ideas from the center, ideas from up, ideas from down. We are open to any idea that the data shows will improve public safety. But what we've come together around today is a very specific plan that is data-driven, that is the results of months of listening to stakeholders, including law enforcement, community organizations on the ground, and a package that is a very important first step in making Colorado one of the 10 safest states in the nation.
What is the total cost of all this package?
I think.
Governor, I was hoping you could explain what this legislation does with the workforce shortages. I know
Sure.
the Sheriff Pelly mentioned that they've had record resignations and record retirements.
Yeah.
Well, can you go into more detail about that?
Sure. So this plan makes resources available and encourages the flexibility of different departments to how best to use those. In one department, it might be retention bonuses. In another, it might be recruitment bonuses. In another, it might mean being able to fill hard to fill positions in certain areas. A key element of this is what works in Fort Morgan isn't necessarily what works in Colorado Springs or what works in Denver. So in working with the broad coalition and the legislative sponsors, we want to make sure we can make the most effective investment in law enforcement workforce retention and recruitment in each area.
Governor, a quick follow-up. What's the cost of this plan? How much are you willing to put
One,
forward
I think
on-
it's 117. Is that right? 117?
113.
113 million over 2 years.
Governor, is that for the entire package?
That's this package. Yeah. Well, the bills that have been introduced and the bills that will be introduced,
Is that enough?
113. We are certainly open to discussion of additional investments, but this is a strong start in helping to make Colorado a safer state.
Governor, at $100 million, 113, but that's about a tenth of what Colorado spends on prisons every single year. We're talking about this over
Yeah.
2 years. So I know you said this is just a step, but we're also being told here this is historic. There's a big press conference. What does it say about the failure of budgeting and policy priorities to this point that $100 million, a tenth of the annual DOC budget, could be billed as making such a
When you effectively prevent crime from occurring, you also decrease both the cost and the human toll of incarceration. A lot of this package is around prevention, and I'm confident that when it leads to a safer Colorado, it'll also lead to a Colorado that has less crimes committed and therefore less convictions and incarcerations, which not only saves additional resources, but creates a virtuous cycle of safety by preventing criminals from being exposed to and recruited into criminal syndicates.
Last question, Megan. Governor, a lot of these programs talk about getting to the root causes and really trying to figure it out. It seems a lot of long-term types of solutions. In the short term, Republicans are using this as one of their messages for the midterms. What kind of guarantees or what do you want people to know about what's happening, will happen in the
Yeah.
short term?
No, this is immediate resources going out. I mean, so when the legislature gets this done, this will be funds in our communities later this year. That'll be funded with data-driven models that we know work to improve public safety. We cannot afford to wait. We must act now. This bold package will help make Colorado a safer place in the short, medium, and long term. Thank you all.
Good job, everybody. Well done. Good job.